American Pickers star Frank Fritz's dad insists late son's will is fake as friends fight to protect entire fortune. Hello everyone, welcome back to my another video. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. American Pickers alum Frank Fritz's father has insisted his late son's will is fake, but the beloved star's close friends are fighting to protect his hard-earned fortune from the family member they claim was rarely in his son's life. Frank passed away in hospice on September 30 at age 60, 2 years after he suffered a debilitating stroke in July 2022 that left him under a conservatorship and guardianship. The U.S. Sun reported Frank's lawyer filed a will prior to death to safekeep the document in October 2023. Though the will was approved by an Iowa judge weeks after Frank's tragic death, the U.S. Sun can exclusively reveal more details from the court war over the late star's estate. Frank's dad, Bill Fritz, exclusively expressed his skepticism to the U.S. Sun. It is a fake will. He did not have a will. He did not sign it. I am his only loved one. I am his only survivor. None of them are related to him. I am the only relation he has. All the others are trying to get money. They are nothing but people who worked for him. Bill went on to explain how he and Frank were close through the years, as they spent summers deep-sea fishing at his home in St. Thomas. Bill's social media page features throwback photos of the father and son on vacation and at events together. "We were close," Bill insisted. "I am requesting the entire estate." Fighting back, but Frank's close friends, who went as far as to file a conservatorship and guardianship for their beloved pal when he suffered the stroke, are insisting his father has barely come around. Until now. American Pickers Frank Fritz lost the will to live after stroke his friend claims really tough recovery led to death. A source close to Frank, who is currently involved in the fight to protect the estate from Bill, told the U.S. Sun, he's asking for the whole estate. He wants the will to be thrown out so his money will go to the nearest relative, which is Bill. Frank's estate includes his fortune, belongings such as his vast motorcycle collection, countless rare antiques, and his $155,000 Iowa farmhouse. His father had very little to do with Frank. He only came to see Frank once when he suffered the stroke. The insider insisted the will is valid despite Bill's claims. The source explained how while there were some concerns about Frank's mind, when he suffered the stroke, he made all of the decisions a brief time after therapy. The insider continued to claim he was making all decisions himself. It was the guardian's responsibility to carry out Frank's wishes, which I assure you he did. The courts have already accepted it. They just have to accept it again now. The source even claimed Bill was offered a role in the guardianship since he was Frank's only living relative, but he allegedly refused. Bill did not comment to the U.S. Sun on why he was not involved in the guardianship. He could have come up at any time to declare for him, and didn't, the insider said, boasting of Frank's amazing friends who did take on the responsibility. The insider added, if there is no will, what is he contesting? Just because Bill is blood does not mean he has the right to take away Frank's last wishes. The Des Moines Register spoke with Bill's lawyer Corey Gorley, who claimed defendants cut off all access to Frank. They simply prevent Bill from having any contact with Frank whatsoever, the lawyer told the outlet. They don't tell him where he is, they don't tell him where they're taking him, and they don't even allow them to have disputed this claim, insisting it was not the responsibility of the guardian to contact Bill with any information in regards to where he was. His medical status, his responsibilities were to Frank, not to Bill. We didn't disregard Frank's dad. He just rarely asked about him. It is not anyone's responsibility to call him. It was his to call here. He was not denied information. He just didn't call. When he did, phone calls were answered. Just because he called his son and he refused to answer does not mean Frank was denied his phone. He had his phone and he called who he wanted to. See who you are to where. The U.S. Sun previously reported that on December 30, 2024, an attorney for a friend of Frank's entered his appearance in the case on the pal's behalf. Then on February 3, 2025, a separate attorney filed a petition in probate to set aside will and jury demand, meaning to request a will be canceled or invalidated legally. The Des Moines Register then reported it was Frank's father who filed to challenge the will. The local outlet is reporting Bill is challenging the will on the grounds of the judge's finding that Frank does not have the capacity to execute any legal documents on his own behalf, and that the will was allegedly not properly signed or witnessed. The case has officially been sealed to the public, as only the parties involved in the case have access to the information. CONSERVATORSA. Frank suffered the stroke at his Iowa farmhouse in July 2022. The U.S. Sun broke in August 2022 that loved ones filed a conservatorship and guardianship on behalf of Frank. His friend Chris Davis is the guardian, while Midwest-owned Bank is the conservator. The documents obtained by the U.S. Sun read, because of his stroke, Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to care for his own safety or to provide for necessities such as food, shelter, clothing, or medical care without which physical injury or illness may occur. Frank was also unable to make, communicate, or carry out important decisions concerning his own financial affairs. An exhibit was filed in the court papers from a doctor, claiming Frank does not have decisional capacity. The legal papers continued, decisions must be made for Mr. Fritz's care and placement while he continues to recover and receive treatment for his injuries. Appointment of a guardian and conservator is necessary to avoid immediate harm to him. The initial plan filed by Midwest-owned Bank mentioned his assets. The court papers read, Mr. Fritz is a well-known collector and has numerous outbuildings full of valuable collections. The conservator has not yet inventoried those items but plans to leave them largely as they are now, with the exception of stocking Mr. Fritz's antique store in Savannah, IL as needed. The documents revealed Frank's annual income of $60,000 from investments, per his 2021 tax return. Frank was unemployed at the time of his stroke and had no debt listed. Frank is estimated to have a net worth of $6 million. Frank's belongings. Frank's longtime friend Jerry Gendreau previously told the U.S. Sun that the plan is to have an auction for his antiques. In 2021, the U.S. Sun photographed Frank at his $155,000 Iowa farmhouse in Davenport, Iowa. In one of Frank's outhouses on the property, he showed off rows of motorcycles from his collection. Jerry previously told the U.S. Sun some of the bikes will be displayed at the store, which is located in the back room of his bar, Hog Dogs. Jerry told the U.S. Sun in October, "We have been an antique store for 35 years. We'll probably continue to be that. We may display motorcycles and choppers that represent Frank. Maybe there'll be bikes on a rack all the way down the center." Frank Fritz was placed under a conservatorship in August 2022, just weeks after he suffered a stroke. Frank's conservator is Midwest-owned Bank and is in charge of his finances. The bank agreed to invest Frank's money in collections to generate income. The guardian is his good friend Chris Davis. Chris is responsible for helping Frank manage his Crohn's disease treatment, go to physical therapy, grocery shop, cook, and more day-to-day tasks. The conservatorship also agreed to help replenish Frank's Iowa antique store. Frank ramp and more have been installed in his Iowa home under the conservatorship. Pickers at A&E. Frank left American Pickers in 2020 to undergo back surgery. He never returned and was officially let go from the series in 2021. Mike Wolf's brother Robbie replaced Frank on the show, while John Jersey Shelley later became a full-time cast member. Frank revealed his feud with co-star Mike during an interview with the U.S. Sun in 2021. Mike, 60, and Frank made up during his health issues when they reunited over Memorial Day weekend of 2023. A final years. Jerry previously gave insight into Frank's health struggles in the months before his passing. He felt really bad. He told the U.S. Sun, "You would go to see him in the nursing home, and one half of his body was completely done. He would lift his arm up, and it would just drop. That's got to be tough to be totally bedridden." Jerry said Frank grew frustrated because he couldn't come out and say what he wanted to say, though some days were much better than others. "I've seen this when people get tired. They get tired. I think if you don't have the will to live, you won't," Jerry said. "I think Frank would have lived a lot longer if the will to live would have been there." Legal battle unfolds over American Pickers star Frank Fritz's estate. The passing of Frank Fritz, renowned for his role on the History Channel's American Pickers, has ignited a contentious legal dispute over his estate. Frank, who died on September 30, 2024, at the age of 60, left behind an estimated $6 million estate, including a substantial collection of antiques, vintage motorcycles, and his Iowa farmhouse. The contestation of the will. Frank's father, William Fritz, has initiated legal proceedings to contest his son's will, filed in October 2023. William alleges that the will is fake and questions its validity, citing concerns about Frank's mental competence at the time of its signing and the proper execution of the document. In contrast, Frank's close friends and caretakers, who managed his guardianship and conservatorship following a stroke in 2022, assert that the will accurately reflects his final wishes. They argue that despite his health challenges, Frank remained mentally sound and capable of making decisions regarding his estate up until the final weeks of his life. A central point of contention is the nature of the relationship between Frank and his father. Sources close to Frank's suggest that William had minimal involvement in his son's life, having reportedly moved away during Frank's early years and visiting only once during his recovery from the 2022 stroke. In contrast, William asserts that he maintained a meaningful relationship with Frank, including shared vacations and visits to his residence in Texas. The legal proceedings have been sealed by an Iowa judge, limiting public access to specific details of the case and the contents of the will. Despite this, it has been reported that Frank's estate includes valuable assets such as his motorcycle collection and Iowa farmhouse. The outcome of this legal battle will determine the distribution of Frank Fritz's estate, which holds significant sentimental and financial value. The dispute underscores the complexities that can arise when family dynamics intersect with estate planning, especially when a high-profile individual passes away. As the legal proceedings continue, the public remains keenly interested in the resolution of this dispute. The case highlights the importance of clear and legally sound estate planning, particularly for individuals with complex family relationships and substantial assets. The final decision will not only affect the beneficiaries, but also serve as a poignant reminder of the challenges that can arise after the loss of a loved one. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, America Trends 24, and stay with us.